The fire crackles, casting dancing shadows on the walls. Outside, the wind howls like a banshee, a symphony of the night. Tonight, we delve into the eerie world of mountain cabins, where the silence of the woods is often broken by whispers of the unknown. Nestled amongst towering trees and shrouded in mist, these cabins hold dark secrets. Join me if you dare as we explore 3 unsettling ghost stories from mountain cabins. 6. Our first tale takes us to Blackwood Cabin, deep within the Appalachian Mountains, a place shrouded in mystery and legend. The Harper family, seeking refuge from the city's clamor and chaos, found themselves trapped in a nightmare they could never have imagined. John and Mary Harper, with their children Emily and Sam, arrived at the cabin for a week of hiking, fishing, and reconnecting with nature. The cabin, though dated, held a rustic charm that seemed to promise peace and tranquility. The children, thrilled to be free from city life, raced through the creaking rooms, their laughter echoing through the wooden walls. The first few days were idyllic, filled with the simple joys of nature and family. But as the sun set each day, a sense of unease began to settle over the cabin, like a dark cloud creeping in. It started subtly, footsteps on the floorboards when everyone was asleep, voices drifting from the empty attic, whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. Emily began to complain of a cold presence in her room, a woman in a white gown standing at the foot of her bed, watching her with hollow eyes. At first, John and Mary dismissed Emily's claims as nightmares, figments of an overactive imagination. But as the occurrences grew more frequent and more disturbing, they couldn't ignore the feeling that something was terribly wrong. One stormy night, a piercing scream tore through the cabin, shattering the silence and their sense of safety. They found Emily cowering in her room, her eyes wide with terror, her body trembling.
"The woman, she was right there, staring at me," Emily cried, her voice shaking.
John raced to the window, flung it open, hoping to catch a glimpse of the intruder, but saw no one outside, only the dark, silent woods. That night, sleep was impossible. Every creak, every whisper seemed amplified, feeding their growing fear. The next morning, John decided they couldn't stay any longer. The risk was too great, the fear too overwhelming. As he packed the car, he noticed strange symbols carved into the wood beneath Emily's window. Panic surged through him as he realized they were not alone. He gathered his family and fled the cabin, feeling unseen eyes watching their every move, the weight of the unknown pressing down on them. The Harpers never returned to Blackwood Cabin, leaving it to the shadows and the whispers that haunted its halls. Some say the cabin still stands, hidden in the Appalachian wilderness, where the whispers of the unknown can still be heard, a testament to the mysteries that lie within the heart of the forest. Our journey takes us to the desolate slopes of the Rockies, where the rugged terrain and vast landscapes hold secrets untold. Here stands Whispering Pines, a solitary cabin with a tragic past, nestled deep within the forest, far from the reach of civilization. Mark, an experienced hiker, sought solace from a recent tragedy, hoping the wilderness would offer him the peace he desperately needed. His journey led him to Whispering Pines, a dilapidated cabin marked as a potential shelter, its weathered exterior hinting at stories long forgotten. As he approached, a sense of unease washed over him, a feeling that something was not quite right. The wind seemed to whisper warnings, carrying with it the echoes of the past. Despite the unsettling feeling, night was falling, and Mark needed shelter. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the landscape. He forced the creaking door open, stepping inside, the sound reverberating through the empty space. The air was heavy, thick with the scent of decay and neglect, as if the cabin itself was mourning its own history. As darkness enveloped the cabin, Mark built a fire, its flickering light doing little to dispel the oppressive atmosphere that seemed to cling to every corner. He tried to shake off the feeling of being watched, but the sensation persisted, gnawing at the edges of his mind. But as the night wore on, the feeling intensified, each creak and groan of the old cabin amplifying his anxiety. He started hearing things, soft footsteps, the faint strumming of a guitar, sounds that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. One night, he felt a cold hand on his shoulder, a touch that sent a shiver down his spine. He sat up with a gasp, his heart pounding in his chest, the darkness around him feeling more oppressive than ever. The cabin was plunged in darkness, the fire having died down to embers, leaving him in a void of blackness. He fumbled for his flashlight, the beam cutting through the darkness to reveal an empty cabin devoid of any presence. Yet the feeling of dread refused to subside, lingering in the air like a heavy fog. The next morning, he decided to explore the cabin further, hoping to find some explanation for the eerie occurrences. In the attic, he found a dusty old journal, its pages yellowed with age and filled with handwritten notes. The journal belonged to Sarah, who lived in the cabin with her father, a reclusive musician whose life was shrouded in mystery. Sarah wrote of her father's descent into madness, his music becoming discordant and haunting, a reflection of his troubled mind. One entry described her father's death, his lifeless body clutching his guitar, a tragic end to a tormented soul. She believed his spirit remained trapped in the cabin, unable to find peace. Mark closed the journal, understanding the source of the unsettling music and the presence he had felt. He was not alone in Whispering Pines, the cabin's tragic history still echoing within its walls. Leaving the journal, Mark fled the cabin, not daring to look back, his heart racing with fear and sorrow. He abandoned his hike and returned to civilization, forever changed by the experience, the memories of Whispering Pines haunting him. To this day, the cabin stands abandoned, a testament to the power of grief and the enduring bonds that tie us to the places we leave behind, a silent witness to the tragedies that unfolded within its walls. Our final tale brings us to the imposing shadow of Shadow Peak, a place shrouded in mystery and fear. Here sits a dilapidated cabin known as Shadow Peak Cabin, a structure that has seen better days and now stands as a testament to the eerie legends that surround it. The story is steeped in local legend, passed down through generations, each retelling adding a layer of dread and intrigue. It is said that the cabin was built by Jedediah, a prospector driven mad by his relentless pursuit of gold, a man whose obsession knew no bounds. Jedediah made a pact with an otherworldly entity, trading his very soul for the location of a hidden vein of gold, a decision that would seal his fate. He struck gold, amassing a fortune beyond his wildest dreams, his once meager existence transformed by the glittering treasure. But his newfound wealth came at a terrible price, one that would haunt him for eternity. The entity claimed Jedediah's soul, trapping him within the confines of the cabin, his spirit forever bound to the place of his greed. Now his tormented spirit haunts the cabin, a restless ghost unable to find peace, his presence felt by all who dare to enter. For years, rumors of the cursed cabin deterred adventurers, the tales of Jedediah's ghost keeping many at bay. But whispers of hidden treasure enticed a group of friends, their curiosity and greed overcoming their fear. Among them were Liam, the skeptic who dismissed the legends as mere stories, Emily, eager to prove the legends true, and Jake, driven by an insatiable greed for wealth. As they made their way up Shadow Peak, a sense of foreboding settled over them, the mountain's ominous presence casting a shadow on their hearts. They arrived at the cabin as dusk began to settle, the sky darkening and the air growing colder, adding to the eerie atmosphere. Ignoring their unease, they pried open the door and stepped inside, their footsteps echoing in the silent, oppressive darkness. The cabin was dark and oppressive, the air thick with the weight of years of abandonment and the lingering presence of Jedediah's spirit. As they explored, they found evidence of the cabin's former occupant, old belongings covered in dust, remnants of a life long gone. As night fell, they gathered around a makeshift fire, the flickering flames casting eerie shadows on the walls. But the atmosphere grew heavy with dread, an unshakable feeling of being watched settling over them. The temperature plummeted, their breath forming frosty clouds in the frigid air, a chill that seemed to seep into their very bones. The noises intensified, scratching sounds, disembodied whispers that seemed to come from all around them, filling the cabin with an otherworldly presence. Then, the lights went out, plunging them into darkness, the only light coming from their flickering fire, casting long, dancing shadows. Liam fumbled for his flashlight, the beam cutting through the darkness to reveal a spectral figure standing in the doorway, its eyes glowing with an unearthly light. It was the ghost of Jedediah, clutching a pickaxe, his face twisted in a grimace of eternal torment. Terrified, the friends scrambled to their feet and ran for their lives, their hearts pounding in their chests as they fled the cabin. The entity was relentless, its laughter echoing behind them, a chilling reminder of the fate that awaited them if they were caught. They fled down the mountain. But the entity picked them off one by one, their screams echoing through the night. Liam was the only one who made it out alive, his mind shattered by the horrors he had witnessed. He stumbled into town, babbling incoherently about the ghostly prospector, his story met with a mix of disbelief and fear. To this day, the cabin stands on Shadow Peak, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can consume those who dare to challenge the unknown. Its presence a constant source of fear and fascination. The legend of Shadow Peak Cabin serves as a warning to all who hear it, a tale of greed, madness, and the supernatural, a reminder that some mysteries are best left unsolved. The flames die down, the embers glowing like malevolent eyes in the darkness. The stories are told, but their chill lingers, a reminder that some doors are best left unopened. Remember, the next time you find yourself in a secluded cabin, you might not be as alone as you think. If you enjoyed these tales of terror, give this video a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe for more spine-tingling stories. Until next time, stay safe and keep the lights on. You never know what lurks in the shadows when darkness falls.